I think also it's significant to point out something that is often overlooked. Joseph Smith was accused of being a treasure digger and a peepstone gazer. Somebody who went around with so-called miraculous rocks, put them in the hat, looked in the hat, and was enabled to find lost objects and buried treasure. He was accused of this. The Mormon Church responded to the accusation. I have the photostats here. The Mormon Church said that there was no evidence that Joseph Smith was a peepstone gazer, and there was no reason to suppose that the charges were true. Now I quote the record. On July 28, 1971, among some old Shenango County bills, the bills of Justice Albert Neely and Constable Philip Dezang for the year 1826 were found, and among the items listed on them were the costs for the arrest and trial of Joseph Smith, the glass looker. I go on. Accompanying it was a mittimus cost, which proves that Joseph Smith was found guilty, for a mittimus authorized the constable to take the prisoner to jail. Joseph was convicted of being a glass looker. Added to this interesting testimony of the court is the fact that Oliver Cowdery, Joseph's associate, said, quote, that he was supposed to have been accused of these things, but no cause for action was ascertained, and he was honorably acquitted. The Mormons said he was honorably acquitted afterwards, and then the record says he was taken by the constable to jail. In addition to that, two leading Mormons made the following statements for their church. Quote, there is no existing proof that such a trial was ever held. Now the evidence came to light, had to be dealt with. Again, Dr. Hugh Nibley, who wrote the book, The Myth Makers, trying to answer people who criticize Mormonism, said he, if this court record is authentic, it is the most damning evidence in existence against Joseph Smith. I submit the evidence. It is in existence. And Joseph Smith was a convicted peepstone gazer who went about attempting to show people where they could find buried treasure. The court records have been photostated and are available. One other additional bit of information. Isaac Hale, Joseph Smith's father-in-law, stated in an affidavit in 1834 that Joseph was, quote, a set of men who were called money diggers, and his occupation was that of seeing or pretending to see by means of a stone placed in his hat, and his hat closed over his face. In this way, he pretended to discover buried or hidden treasure. Smith boarded with him and then stated to him in 1827 that he had given up glass looking. Soon after this, I was informed that he had brought a wonderful book of plates with them. The manner in which he pretended to read and interpret was the same as when he looked for the money diggers, with the stone in his hat and his hat over his face, while the book of plates was at the same time hid in the woods. Martin Harris, one of the founders of the Mormon Church and one of the witnesses to the Book of Mormon's veracity, verified this in 1859. Quote, Joseph had a stone which was dug from the well of Mason Chase. It was by means of this stone he first discovered these plates. I had the account of it from Joseph, his wife, brothers, sisters, his father, and mother. I talked with them separately that I might get the truth of the matter. Close quote. We were told by the Mormons that if the evidence could be authenticated, it was the most damning bit of evidence against Joseph Smith as a prophet. 1971, the court records of Justice Neely and the constable are now authenticated.